Hello, welcome to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy, and today, as you could probably tell from the thumbnail, I'm starting a 24-hour reading vlog. Now this is just going to be, I will read for 24 hours. I have a timer pulled up. We will see how much I can read. Anytime I take a break, anytime I stop and do something else, I will be pausing the timer, and then when I sit down to read, I will pick it back up. It is currently Friday. It is about 6:30. I am doing some reading sprints with Jen, who's the Book Refuge. She's doing patron reading sprints tonight. And I am about to start a new book. I have no books I'm currently in the middle of. It is the 11th of August. And I finished 3 books this month, which is crazy because I have 2 huge month-long readathons happening, and I have only read 3 books, which is super duper slow for me. So I'd like to try to do a little bit of pushing this weekend. So we'll talk about what I'm picking up during the reading sprints tonight. And then this weekend at some point, I'm hoping to pick up an audiobook and take care of some things around the house. After work, I put together my to-do list for tonight and this weekend, and it is practically full. So I have a lot I have to take care of. So we will see. Not all of this, some of this is due this weekend. Other of it is just other little projects I would like to do. And then some of it is stuff that I can do this week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of a thing. So lots of things happening this weekend, and then I might have plans Saturday afternoon, so I might be gone for most of the evening for that. But let me talk about, next weekend I have my first Buzzing About Romance Patreon book club, and I'm super excited for it. And we are going to be doing the book For Never by Aurora Rose Reynolds. I've seen Aurora Rose Reynolds around as a popular author on Bookstagram. I think she does small town contemporary stuff. I don't know much about this book. I know I have never read her before. I know it's a contemporary. I think the little blurby thing about like what we were when the vote happened said it was a fake dating, maybe more situation. So I'm definitely intrigued there. So yeah, we will see how it goes. All right, so let me pull. All right, so I've got a timer pulled up, so it will stay there. I tested it out. As you can see, we've got my YouTube reading sprint here. So we are at 1 day. So start is the green button, and there we go. So I'm going to start reading, and I will be back once I have made either some decent progress in For Never, or I've hit like a fun hour mark in this. So I'm excited to see how much time I can get strictly just reading in 24 hours. So I will see you very shortly and hopefully have some fun information to chat about. Hello, good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm just getting ready, good morning, to do things. I've got my coffee. I'm in my closet right now, as you could tell. So I didn't do much reading yesterday. I only read about 10 minutes, but I went over and I decorated a new earring holder. So I did washi tape, and I'm going to try putting my studs in there because this is currently how they're all stored. And so I wanted a better way to access my studs. So I'm going to get going. I also have some chores. I need to do laundry and stuff today. But yeah, I have a lot of projects. I ended up doing this, and then I was able to sew in all the ends of the sweater I'm currently crocheting. So now I just have to put it together. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. But as for timing, I have I've only read 50 minutes. since we last chatted on Friday night, but that is fine. I was going to film an update because I was going to start an audiobook while I like start going on laundry and my little projects that I have to do for the day. But let's talk about For Never first. I am at, 46%. So I'm almost halfway through. So I should be able to finish it in the next couple days if I have some time to sit down and read. This is super cute. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into with this. I didn't read the blurb or anything, but this is maybe I did update you. I can't remember. No, because I think the only clip was like 4 minutes long. Okay, if I have updated you, I will cut this out. But we have, I totally forgot her name. Penny. Penny is her name. She is going to do a temp job for her friend. Her friend is on maternity leave and she is a teacher and it's summertime right now. So she is going to work while her friend's on maternity leave in her assistant job. And so she's fills in for her assistant to like the CEO. He is the head of a gaming company, which is super fun. And he, I guess, got super popular because he was like a YouTube gamer. One of the first ones to like make it big when he was a teenager. And then went to college for like creating a game. Or for game creation, and now he owns his own company. So he's like a millionaire, a billionaire. He's super rich. He's got tattoos, but he's got like the nerdy glasses. So he's like the bad boy nerd, which I am here for. And he's very grumpy. And she, after like a week of her doing this temp job for him, he offers her $50,000 to be his fake fiance for his family reunion with 130 plus people. And she agrees because in the beginning of the book, we learn her mother has just been not diagnosed, but declared that her breast cancer is in remission, which is really sweet. And her mother is, I mean, that's kind of what like became her life. She took her to every single appointment. She helped her with her medication. Her mom kind of jokes with her when she's packing her suitcase that she's like, okay, thanks, Mom. And she's the mom. And that kind of really hit me deep because I did the same thing for my mom when she was having her surgeries and was injured, and like I moved back in with her, and my previous job had ended and I needed a new job, but my mom needed help, so I moved back in with her and I took her to her physical appointments. I drove because she had injured her hips, so she couldn't really drive safely. So yeah, I definitely get it when you just kind of, you know, you're in the position where you can help your parent, and I didn't mind doing that at all for her, and I'm glad that I was able to, because I was able to get a lot more one-on-one time and like re-enter the nest, so to speak, with her before she ended up passing. So yeah, you know, things happen for a reason. But her mom's in remission, and her mom is going to visit her aunt, or a heroine, Penny's aunt. So her mom's sister and her mother in New York, and she's just gonna go on this like vacation for like 6 weeks and just do all the things that's like on her bucket list. But Penny has been saving money for a while because she wants to fly her mom to Paris, which is a super big bucket list item. And the $50,000, she's like, I can pay off my mom's medical bills, I can pay off my student loans and save some for the Paris trip. And I'm like, you must be doing really good on your student loans if $50,000 will cover all of your mom medical bills plus pay off your student loans. I'm like, good on you. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the banter between them. She is sunshiny, but I like that she's just like, I'm not gonna put up with this. Like, she's like, no, you're being silly, you're being stupid. Like, we're gonna do this, and we're like, I'm not gonna read some statistic sheet that you wrote up about your life. I'm gonna have a conversation and actually learn things about you. And so she kind of pushes him a little bit to come out of his grumpy exterior and just separate himself from everyone. And so she's going on this family reunion with him for a week. So I'm super intrigued to continue it. I'm super enjoying it so far. As you can tell, I've read less than an hour and I'm almost halfway through it. So I'm flying through it. That tells me that I'm enjoying it when I fly through a book that quickly. When it is a longer book, I think it's 200 plus pages, maybe 300. So we'll leave for Never there. The audiobook I plan on picking up, I sat through this morning while I was eating my breakfast, and I was like trying to put together my list and figure out what I wanted to read this month, and there's a lot because I've only read 3 books so far this month, which I know I talked about already. I am thinking that I was trying to find an audiobook, and I was like, well, I'd rather read this in paperback, or I have a lot of paperbacks on my list, and I've only checked out 1 book from Hoopla. My goal is to check out 5 books from Hoopla. I've been very podcast focused though lately too, so I'm just like, do I want an audiobook? Do I want to do an audiobook? And I'm like, yeah, let's just do an audiobook. I look through my current podcasts, and the ones that I'm pretty much just focusing on listening to right now are Buzzing About Romance, the Big Brother live feed updates. I have a Taylor Swift podcast that posts every Tuesday, and then the Smart Women Read Romance. And I'm caught up on all of those. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do an audiobook instead of finding another podcast to listen to. So I went through my list, and everything I had, even though it was in audiobook form, I don't want to read it audiobook form because I want to reread it physically because I loved it so much physically before, and I want to see how much I love it now. So I want to try to read it in the same format to see if it still strikes me the same. But I decided to pick up The Charm School by Susan Wiggs. This was in my Hoopla favorites. I needed a book for Magical Readathon that has a body of water on the cover. And so I was looking through historicals I had saved. This is like 11 and a half hours or something crazy long, but it's fine. I think on this one, I think I'll have it. I think this one I can do 1.5, which will make it a little bit quicker, but I'm going to be starting this. I don't really remember much about it outside of the heroine sneaks onto a ship. Maybe she doesn't sneak, but she's on a ship, and it is her romance with a captain who may or may not be a pirate. I cannot remember, but yeah, I'm super excited for it. We'll see how it goes, but I wanted to film an update before I started it, so I just wasn't like, surprise, I read an audiobook, because sometimes I'm bad about that for these like more specific vlogs. And then hopefully tonight, once I sit down for a little bit, I can read more of my ebook. So we'll see what happens. I'll get to reading and working on my chores, and I will be back once I have either made some decent time progress or I have made some decent progress in Charm School. So I will see you very soon. Hello, I'm back. It is just before 6 p.m. It's been a fairly productive day. I am down to 18 hours, 19 minutes, and 12 seconds for my 24-hour countdown. I have gotten to 64. I think it's 64% of the Charm School. And I'm having fun with this. I totally didn't realize, because it has been recovered, but was originally published in 1999. And I don't know how updated the audiobook version might have been when it was produced, because the book, I think, was produced in the 2010s. But there's talk of slavery, but this is 1850s in America and South America. And so there's a lot of talk of slavery for sure in this. But the hero and the heroine are very like anti-slavery. The hero was raised in Virginia, and he was had a slave boy that he basically grew up with, and that was his attendant, and he became his best friend. And when he went to college, he specifically was like, I'm gonna go to Harvard, not the local college in Virginia. And one of the big reasons why he chose to leave the state is because it was across the Mason-Dixie line, and the second they crossed the line, he already had the Emancipation Papers ready for his guy Journey, and he freed him right away. And it was kind of hard because he had, Journey had a wife and a kid on the way, but they are slaves at a neighboring plantation. And he ended up dropping out of Harvard and becoming a skipper, a captain for a prominent Boston businessman. And he very specifically, like when he goes and picks up new cargo, when he goes from places to place, he only buys products to import and export that are not made with slave labor, which is nice. But so I'm feeling comfortable with the way that it's talked about, where it's not okay. And even though our main characters grew up in that society and their families did have slaves, especially the hero, because his family was on the southern side of the states, they're very morally against it, and he is pushing to do as much cargo as they can, and they're making records for completing trips super quick. But the reason is they're trying to get as many jobs done as possible to amass a large amount of money to buy Journey's mother, or Journey's wife, and the two kiddos. And then I totally just spaced his name. What is his name? What is the hero's name? It is Isabel, and Journey is his business partner. Ryan is his name. And then he will free the wife and the two kiddos, and then they can, Journey can live with his family again. So it's got some heavy topics for sure. But I am enjoying it. I definitely am. So Isabel is like the black sheep, the blue stocking, out of place, frumpy relative in a family full of beauties type situation. And she just kind of feels like she doesn't belong. And when she was younger, she didn't feel like she kind of matched in with her family's expectations. And she was sent to live with like her aunt or her great aunt or something like that. And when she passed away, she was kind of forced back into her family. And then at that point was even more like a black sheep because she wasn't raised with them. So she was very behind in like Boston society as well. But she speaks a bunch of different languages. And there comes a point where Ryan's crew needs a translator, and she kind of forces her way in. Of course, she has a major crush on one of the guys about society, who is the businessman's son who owns the ship that Ryan is captaining. Ryan's mother ends up coming to town and joining the ship because they're going to Rio de Janeiro, and because he has an aunt that lives there. So Ryan and his mother and her companion are all heading to Rio. And then Isabel as well. So Isabel and Ryan are our like ship, our main couple here. I need a drink. Hold on one second. It's coffee. You don't want it. She has to sniff it though. She has to make sure. So yeah, they're cute. She is definitely someone who likes to learn things and listen to stories, and she's just very curious. And so she is befriending everyone on the ship, but her and Ryan have some antagonism towards each other, so they just try to avoid each other, and Ryan is like slowly falling for her. One thing I don't like is the minute that they like disembark in Rio, he is going off to take care of, you know, some business and get things checked in and customs and all of that. And he ends up spending a few moments with a lady of the night in Rio. And I was just like, that's one thing I don't like is when not just that they're introduced, but if there starts to be something between who our two main characters are. I don't like to see one of them then sleeping around with somebody else, and especially because he has like actively starting to have feelings. But when he does this, he finds that it's very clinical, and he just is left feeling wanting, like he finds completion, but he's left feeling emotionally wanting after the experience. And I'm like, yeah, because you're in love with Isabel, and you two aren't like agreeing to it. And then he finally kisses her. And so right now they're at a masquerade party for a celebration in Rio for Christmas, I think. So, you know, I'm enjoying it. I'm just chugging along. Like I said, 64%. I have gotten quite a bit done. Also wise, I've got 2 loads of laundry away. I made a batch of cookies. I got next week's vlog edited and is exporting. I mean, here's where my to-do list is looking. All of these squiggly ones, this is stuff that I'm doing later this week, or potential projects that like aren't at the top of my list, but I would like to get done. But I am feeling pretty happy. Some of these I have started, like the rest of my laundry isn't done yet, so I haven't been able to cross that off, but it started, and it's all in the washer and dryer right now. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling great about where I am on my to-do list. Since I did kind of show you earlier, I will. So here is, so I got my earring box put together. These are all just dangles. I gotta figure out if I'm gonna put them back in these or if I'm gonna get a different case to store the dangles. But I got all of my studs in here, and I have organized them. So like this is animals, this is sports, this is all space. I have more space so I can get more earrings, but these are like crystals, studs, and like puzzle pieces. And then I just tried to organize them all by like shape and theme. So we've got flowers and food. And then this one is like fandom earrings. So you can see like One Piece and SpongeBob and Disney related, Pink Panther, stitches in the back there. These are EXO earrings. These are the only K-pop earrings I have, and they're EXO. But yeah, so I still got to figure out what I'm going to do with my dangles. I have 4 of these plastic canvas holders. And then I also took everything that wasn't Christmas earrings, and I stuck them in this little case. So I've got Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, either 4th of July, Labor Day, things like that. Bunch of Halloween, a couple Thanksgiving ones, and then a couple just winter-based ones. And then like Nightmare Before Christmas, I have a couple. All of my Christmas ones I have in my Christmas stuff. But so I pulled those out to also save space. So I still got to figure out what to do with that. And then I've got my hoops, because hoops don't really work, especially the closed hoops, don't work with this style of earrings. So I might buy a new holder for my dangle earrings, but we'll see. I've got a lot of them, the long skinny ones up here, And then I've got some of the closed loop small hoops on this, but I don't know. We'll see. It's still a work in progress, but I'm feeling better because this is so much cleaned up. It's a lot better. I got my necklaces put up last weekend, and then I have super long ones over here because, as you could tell, they're very, very long. And I don't know why I put the hook right over the light socket. I'll probably move that at some point. But so doing some organizing, things are looking better. Like I said, I also got quite a bit of laundry done and put away. So I'm feeling happy with things. And I think that's it. Yep, here's my other dingle. And there's Cheese yelling at us. Hi! Hi! Snuggle that. I know. She's been very lonely. She's been wanting cuddles, but I've been doing things. Yeah, are you lonely? Hello. Long time no see for me. It is currently just after 11 o'clock p.m. Saturday. A week later. I read very little this week. I wasn't even like super playing video games or just doing I was just like, I feel like I haven't been doing anything, but you know, my reading has slowed down and I am aware of this, and I keep telling myself like I want to read. We've got readathons going on. I had this vlog going on, and I was just like, not ready to just like really dive into reading. The books I was reading were fine. Like I still have like 4 hours left of the charm school. Haven't touched it. I did just finish the ebook I was reading earlier today, so that's why I wanted to film an update. But it was fine, but I guess mentally not am in a good reading space. So when I get in those moods, I don't try to push myself to read, even though I want to. If it's just not working for me, I just don't push it, because I don't want to force myself to be like in a very, very long slump. So, but like I mentioned, I did earlier today finish For Never. When I picked it up today, I don't remember what percentage I was at in it, but I had less than an hour left in it, according to my like little Kindle stats. And yeah, so I had to finish it because tonight was book club meeting. So I got that done, and I literally had 3 minutes until book club started. And I was like, oh, perfect. I finished it just in time. So it was super fun. I had a lot of fun with book club. This is the first book club that I've done for the Buzzing About Romance Patreon exclusive book club, and it was super fun. And we talked about the book, and there is kind of a little bit of a game. And then it was just people just chatting and hanging out, and I just really, yeah, I was my typical self where I hardly spoke, and I'm just happy to sit and listen to people talk. I mean, I did say things, but even though I am not very vocal a lot of the times in social settings, I didn't feel awkward at all, just being quiet. Like, I don't know, I was having fun laughing at people, making fun of each other, and I don't know, I really have enjoyed the community so far. That really Becky's the mastermind behind all of this, and I've been listening to their podcast for a while now, and the Discord, but it was really like it was the same vibe, but there were a lot less people, because I think I saw there was only like 17 people in total there, but not everybody was like always actively talking kind of thing. But anyway, I had a super fun time at book club. And I'm super excited for next month. And yeah, I had a lot of fun, and that was good. And I feel like it's nice to kind of feel a place and a book club and a community. And I feel like the romance community in general has really kind of expanded. There's a lot of different almost cliques forming lately. And I don't know. I try not to be a very cliquey person myself. So I don't know, but I just kind of try to find places where they feel like they really are welcoming to everyone and not, behind closed doors, intentionally not including certain people. And I don't know. I don't like drama. I try to stay out of the drama. So yeah, I've really enjoyed, buzzing about romance. So I will link the website. It's Bookcase and Coffee is the website. I'll link it down below. I'm a super big fan of them. So yeah. But anyway, the book that we read was For Never by Aurora Rose Reynolds. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Which is crazy because it took me over a week to read this book. And that is, I think, maybe I could push it to like a 3.5 stars, but it wasn't a bad book at all. It definitely had some things where I was kind of and there are things that I've really kind of started noticing, especially for the newer releases, like little things that just, I'm like, why, like we're trying to fit trends, or I don't know. In some of the steamy scenes, or I guess in one specific steam scene, he tells her good girl, and that just felt weird, and like didn't really fit the vibe of the scene. Then there was one later where all of a sudden he was suddenly spanking her, and I was like, and I get, on the spectrum of kink, spanking, a lot of people are like, that's not really a kink, but I am someone who, and I'm like, nobody must not like it, but then at the same time, I'm like, I am at least one person who doesn't like it. I'm not a big fan of spanking. I can't do it with spanking. And so I found myself skimming that big scene at the end, near the end, and I don't know, it suddenly got a little more kinky, and it wasn't the vibe earlier, so I don't know, I just kind of was like, And then there was a moment, and I've noticed this more and more since I've heard specifically like Crystal talk about it, and then I know Jen has mentioned a couple times of things that her and Crystal have talked about like when the hero talks about the heroine, like for the first time they meet, or when he talks about the first time they meet her. And this is another book where he says near the end of the book, but he said, because this is all single POV, which is also something I don't prefer, at least especially in contemporaries. But he says like the first time he saw her, he wanted to F her. And I was like, really? Like, I get attraction is a thing, and sexual attraction is a thing, and that can be what draws two people together, and they definitely got to know each other before they moved forward. But I was just like, I don't know, it just, I noticed it more, just because I have been thinking about that, and I have seen some conversations about that lately, and so here, like, it stuck out to me. So I'm intrigued to read other newer releases and see if the same kind of thing sticks out to me. So it was just a lot of little stuff like that, paired with the fact that it took me a week to read it, and so I gave it 4 stars. It was fine. I super enjoyed it. I thought the ending was a little, I don't know, rushed, or there's like I don't know. It just wasn't quite perfect for me, but it's definitely better than some of the other stuff. And I had no idea what to expect coming in. So, I don't know. I'm feeling like I should rate it lower because I did have some nitpicks with it, but I still overall enjoyed it. And like once I would like sit down and read this, I'd get a good chunk in. I just wasn't in a reading mood, and maybe that's partly because of this book, and maybe partly because of other things. Hi, can I help you? But yeah. So someone wants attention, I guess. Hi. No, goodness. There, okay, yep, we're gonna rub our face on my nose, I guess. You're very cute. Hi, oh my gosh, that's a close-up of your face. Can I help you? You're gonna lick your little kitty chops? She's very cute. She is. She will like you to believe otherwise. But she is very cute. Hi. Yep. This is like her new thing the past couple days, is rubbing her face on my nose. Especially when she wants to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because she wants an early breakfast. And she's like sitting here licking her chops. So I think she wants me to get her up. I've been giving her like 3 dinners. So I give her typically one when I get home, like 5:15-ish. And then the weekends she gets some. Usually she gets a lunch on the weekends because I'm home. And I just get to spoil her. And this is wet food specifically. She free feeds dry food because she's good about that. But lately, we have our typical feeder when I get home because that's just habit. And then I switched to giving her 2 dinners because she gets her medicine 8:30-ish, 9 o'clock-ish, because that's when I give it to her in the morning. And lately, because I've been staying up a little bit later or just more receptive to her begging for food before we like go to bed. So she's been getting food. She's been getting like a midnight snack, third kind of dinner thing. Yeah, and it's about 11:30, so that would be why. She's like, I need my midnight snack, Mom. But it's fine, you know, she turns 22 this year. She loves her soft food, so why not spoil her? You know, she's getting older, and I'll spoil her as much as I want and make her happy. So, anyway, now that we've had that distraction, as for, I do want to keep reading. I am feeling in a reading mood tonight. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to pick up. Hello, it is Tuesday, August 22nd. It is 10:30. I just got out of the shower. So, well, I got out a little bit ago. My hair's already half dry. But anyway, I finished the audiobook for The Charm School earlier today. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. It was sitting at a 4-star. And some of the slavery aspects, I don't know. Some things kind of felt slightly icky to me, and I liked that our main characters were against slavery. Like, that's good. Especially with one being from the South. But I was a little disappointed with how, after they did their job in Brazil, when they stopped in Virginia to get by Journey's family, so then Ryan could free them. And I guess they're owned by his older half brother's wife's family. And then there was some weird thing where he's now disgraced. His older brother's now disgraced. He's lost all his money. Their father left the estate in like a lot of debt. And so, you know, his wife is now living back at her parents' house with their 2 kids. And her father is just like, we hate anybody with a name Calhoun, because it turned out that before his older brother got married, he fell in love and had an affair with an African-American woman. And so, like, the stigmatism makes sense, but I just feel like, I don't know, we had that, and then we had the issue with buying Journey's family, and then we had them basically enabling that Journey's wife and his 2 kids to escape, and then they basically took refugees or escaped slaves, and then, you know, when they get back to Boston, they're, you know, Ryan, as the captain or skipper, is asked to go to the like big welcoming back party. Isabel is gonna be there, and then, you know, they have to leave earlier. They were gonna escape in the middle of the night, but because of weather, Ryan and Journey decided to leave earlier. There was a huge storm, so it looked like the boat they might have been on capsized. So then Isabel was really sad because, you know, he never kept his promise to meet her at the dance thing, and then she was sad, and then she turns out pregnant, and I was just like, it got a little too stereotypical for me, and I didn't need that much extra angst added on to everything else that we had going on, and I also didn't feel like Isabel coming back to Boston and being more self-confident in herself and secure in herself and just really trusting who she is. I didn't feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes with that storyline, the ugly duckling kind of a thing, when they come back to their family or whoever kind of disregarded them before, there's a sense of like triumph and just like, I don't give a care if you like me anymore. I'm comfortable in who I am. And I didn't get that almost triumphant feeling with the situation because we had all this other stuff going on. All of this is like in the last, I mean, I only had like 20% left in the book when I started it tonight, but I feel like it was really like the last 8% that all of this stuff happened. And then we have some passage of time. And then of course, Ryan shows up at some masquerade ball dressed as a pirate with all of the crew members, and they're there to rescue and save Isabella. So that final little ending scene bumped it up to the 3.5 stars from the 3 stars because I thought that was really cute and funny. So, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, but it wasn't perfect by any means. It is a historical written in 2001. There wasn't really any of the typical problematic elements outside of sometimes the way that slavery was talked about, or it just, I don't know. I feel like I can't have too much of an opinion on it because I'm not African American, but sometimes it felt a little too pandering or too false for the situation. But then there were moments where I was like, yeah, no, that's horrible, and that sounds about right from what I've learned, and if not even more horrible. So it was this weird thing where I just kind of felt uncomfortable about the way that it was kind of mentioned sometime, or just a little bit like, really? We're gonna talk about it like this? So, I don't know. But I think overall, I did enjoy Ryan and Isabel's relationship. It was just a little too, like, stereotypical for me. So, yeah. So, 3.5 stars is my final rating on that. And I am officially down to just under 14 hours on my timer. 13 hours, 54 minutes and 53 seconds. And that might be backwards for you now that I've thought about that. So, I have not started a physical book yet. I was going to when I made my update a couple days ago. I feel like at this point, I think it might have been Sunday. Maybe it was yesterday. No, I made it Saturday. That's when I finished my last ebook. But Friday, I totally spaced. Friday is book club for On the Edge by Ilona Andrews. This is the first book in their Edge series. So I'm going to start this tonight and just read this until I go to bed. So we'll see how far I get into it, but I'm going to hopefully make a good chunk of progress. I'm pretty excited. I've been still kind of a little bit, not necessarily slumpy, but just my attention span is wanting to do other things outside of reading. But it's Ilona Andrews, so I feel like even a bad book from Ilona Andrews is still like better than every other book. It's like the same thing I feel about like MCU movies and like Taylor Swift. Like if it's not a good version of theirs, of their property, it's still like hands above better than like the peers of that situation. But anyway, I'm excited to read this. I know that this is somewhat connected to the Innkeeper Chronicles series, so yeah, I'm excited to dig into it. And in case you couldn't see, I have one of the bookmarks that I got from the Flamecraft board game. It's a dragon-based board game, and I had to get a gray dragon that is reading. And there's the Flamecraft logo. But isn't he super cute? The artwork for Flamecraft is amazing. Of course, when I backed it on Kickstarter, I had to get the like additional bookmarks because they're amazing. So there he is, sticking out. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get all cozy in bed and get to reading. But I just wanted to update you because, hey, I finally finished another book. So we'll see how long it takes me to get through the next one. I did look at starting another audiobook, but I'm going to wait until I actually have time, whether it's free time at work or if I decide to start doing some projects at night. But I have, like I've mentioned, so many podcasts going on because Big Brother is active. So, you know, every day we have the live feed updates, and then we have the 3 days a week that there's the episode updates. So it takes me like half, if not 3/4 a day of work to get through a Big Brother podcast that's about 2 hours long because, you know, we're pausing it to deal with customers and answer the phone and different things, or if my boss and I are just chatting about something, I'll pause it. And then usually in the morning I listen to my Avalanche podcast, which is now, they're like 3 days a week because we're still in the off season. But I'm sure things are going to start ramping up here soon because we've got training camps and all of that. But that's the Colorado Avalanche, which is the local hockey NHL team, which I am a huge, huge fan of. So yeah, I'm going to stop blabbering at you. I'm going to get to reading and enjoy the rest of the night. And I will be back hopefully soon with another update. Hello. I've got kitty cuddles going on right now. It is about 11:30 Wednesday night. And I thought I would stop and make an update. I am this far into On the Edge. I'm on page, let's see, 181, chapter 17. Hi. So I'm just over halfway. I have about 140, 150-ish pages left of On the Edge. This is like super intriguing. It's definitely different than other Ilona Andrews books I've read. The world building is really good, is really interesting for sure. It is different, and you can kind of tell that it's an earlier work of theirs. But I'm really enjoying it. So in this world, there's like two different worlds, and they're almost kind of layered on top of each other, almost like a pocket dimension kind of a thing. So there's the broken, which is like the world that we know, the normal world. And then there's the weird, and that is basically a magical world. Same continents, same oceans. I mean, the countries and stuff are in a different layout. There's a talk about like North America, we're horizontally aligned, Canada, America, Mexico, but in the weird, it's vertically, which is interesting. And then they have like different names, but some of them are the same. Like Texas is still the Republic of Texas. But what is like super interesting is then there's what's known as the Edge, which is obviously what this series is about, and it is a strip of land between the two where you can travel between the two places. And I don't know, it's just very, very intriguing. And in it, the people who are in the Edge do have magic. It's very, like, light magic. It's not very strong. I'm trying to, like, set this down so it stays, but it doesn't want to stay. Okay, hold on. Okay, we'll see if this works. I had to rearrange things. So Rose is our heroine. She's kind of become like the caretaker for her two younger brothers. Hi. She's definitely of age. And she's been supporting her family. She takes jobs in the real world as a cleaning lady. And then she travels between the Edge and the broken every day. Their family is very struggling financially. And there's definitely some interesting things happening. And I am pretty sure Jack and George are who we meet in Innkeepers, which is crazy because that means Rose is their older sister. Hi. Can I help you? Okay. I don't know why you're whining. But so Rose is like one of the most powerful people in the Edge in like a long time. And it's very interesting to kind of see that a lot of people want her as like a bride to help increase their family's magical prowess, and so they basically just want her as a broodmare kind of a thing. Both from the weird and in the Edge. So we've got some dude that kind of played her and took her on a date and was making out with her when she was like a high schooler or just out of high school, and then like tried to knock her out and steal her to basically sell her to one of the most powerful Edge families in this area, and she like injured him with her magic because her magic is very strong. It's called flashing. And what's really interesting is we're hearing about flashing, and it's almost like a whip or like a rope of magical energy that comes out. And there's other types, like there's cursing and other kinds of magic, but that's like a way to show your magic. And I guess there's a day after you graduate high school where you like test your flash, and the brighter the color, the stronger you are. And so like most people who are super powerful on the Edge have like a blue and green color, but Rose's is white. So she's definitely like wanted, hunted, tried to be like bartered, tried to be enslaved by all of these people. And because she has been so powerful and has constantly practiced with her magic, she's able to kind of survive. But Declan shows up at the same time that there's these weird beast creatures that aren't a magic that anyone has seen before, that are basically trying to kill anybody who has stronger magic in the edge. And he shows up and he wants to court her, and so finally he convinces her to give him 3 challenges. And if he completes those, then basically she agrees to marry him, kind of a thing. But she's nervous for her brothers. He's also like helping protect from these creatures. I'm sure there's more to the story, that Declan either knew something was coming through the edge, or that there was somebody who might be creating these monsters that he's dealt with. So I need more from Declan. But once again, I think I'm just really enjoying the side characters. And even though you can tell this is an earlier Alona Andrews book, it still has all of their notes and like a really good developed side characters, and the world building is really interesting, and the magic is so different from anything else they've ever done before. And I feel like I say that with every single one of their series, but I'm enjoying this so much, as you can tell. I didn't get through too much last night. I only got through like 60-ish pages, but tonight I was like, oh, I want to read more. I definitely want to read more. So I'm certainly enjoying On the Edge so far. I think right now it's probably sitting at like a 4.5 stars. I do wish there was a little bit more in the romance part of it, especially because these are supposed to be more of a romance. But we just had a first kiss between Declan and Rose, and she's still kind of really fighting him. But I understand why, so it's not really annoying me. I just wish that there was more on that front and not as much going on with like these creatures, that we had more development between her and Declan. But maybe now that the creatures situation is getting more perilous, we'll get more movement and Rose will stop kind of pushing back against having Declan stay and help protect her and her brothers and her grandmother, or her grandmother at this point. But yeah, so I'm really loving it. I'm currently at basically 10 hours and 40 minutes. So we are making good progress. Totally didn't realize when we hit the 12-hour mark, because I wanted to film a clip when we were halfway through. But hey, look, we're over halfway through. So I'm hoping that through this weekend I can get this 24-hour vlog finished, and then I can edit it and figure out where to fit it into my upload schedule. But making some good progress. I don't know how much longer I'll read tonight. Like I said, it's getting close to midnight now. It's about 11:45 now. So we'll see, but I definitely should be able to finish it at least tomorrow night and then go from there. So I just wanted to do an update because I thought it was a good spot to kind of pause, since I was over halfway through and I wanted to take a little break. And top off Cheese's water dish and stuff before like getting more in bed, because right now I'm just laying on top of all of my blankets and stuff, so I want to like take my pillows down and actually get comfy, cozy, you know. So I'll stop blabbering at you. So far so good on the edge, for On the Edge. But yeah, I'll let you know when I make more progress, probably when I finish it, unless something bonkers happens. But I will see you very shortly. Hello, happy Thursday. It is Thursday evening. I've got Cheese here cuddled up with me. So I just finished, where did I put it? On the Edge. I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely picked up steam. I got through like 260-ish, 270 pages last night. And this is like just about 3:30. So I finished the rest when I got home. It did take me a little bit longer than I expected to read the rest of it, but Taylor Swift is in Mexico City tonight, and so I started trying to watch live streams for Sabrina, because Sabrina's the new opening act and I enjoy some of her songs. And then I was trying to watch Taylor, and we got to Evermore, and I was just like, ugh, the streams aren't very good. There's not really Wi-Fi at the stadium where they're at, so... And I kept getting distracted, like seeing if there was new streams and if anybody else was doing it just so I could have it on. And then finally I was like, I'm just going to turn it off. And then I remembered Big Brother's HOH competition tonight is the pressure cooker. So I have it up on Pluto TV. So I'm watching the live feeds. And nothing has changed for like the past couple hours, which is bonkers, but... So I did finally finish On the Edge. I was able to really kind of fly through once I turned on Big Brother because nothing is really happening. So yeah, 4.5 stars. I definitely still was wanting a little bit more from the romance aspect of it. And I feel like the world setup was just slightly clunky in the very, very beginning. But once we really got into it and we got into the action and figuring out like the whole plot with these monsters and this other guy who's like creating them. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll move stuff for you. It really just picked up and was so much fun. I can't wait to read the next book in the series. I have no idea. I know it's a different couple, but I don't know who it is specifically. I'm kind of hoping William gets a book, who is the wolf shifter friend of Declan from when they were Legionnaires. I don't know if it's going to be other people like the other heroes, or, well, I guess he said there were women and men, but other people who were in this like magical special ops group, or if it's going to be other people that we haven't met yet. So I'm certainly intrigued. I try not to read the blurbs for Alona Andrews and go in blind. So who knows? The only teaser at the end of this book was for Kate Daniels. Which one? Magic Bleeds is the teaser at the end of this one. So yeah, I loved it. He also kind of gives me Curran vibes, which is super interesting. Like, who came first, Declan or Curran? You know? But yeah, another winner of Alona Andrews' book, and I'm excited for book club tomorrow night to chat about it. And, you know, I think I'm going to leave it there. It's a super quick update, and I know I didn't say much outside of I loved it, but I just think it's super interesting. And I think I talked about it quite a bit last night, and really things got resolved really well. We had near-death experience. It definitely kind of gave me similar Kate vibes, a little bit of how just kick-ass Rose is, and Declan just wanting to protect her, kind of like Curran does. So it definitely gave me Kate and Curran vibes, but I feel like Kate and Curran weren't quite at the point that we see Rose and Declan in this book in the series, because I feel like Magic Bleeds is pretty early on. So the teaser for Magic Bleed starts with, no matter how carefully I patted the chopped apples into place, the top crust of my apple pie always looked like I tried to bury a dismembered body under it. Yeah, Magic Bleeds is an earlier book. It's definitely in the first half. If I remember correctly, I want to say it's like book 4, maybe book 3. So yeah, that's when Kate is making a special dinner for Curran and kind of like accepting the fact that he's been low-key-ish courting her in a shifter way. And this was like the first time she was making food for him. And Curran doesn't show up, and it's heartbreaking, and there's a novella that's like really goes into why he doesn't show up. So yeah, this is Kate and Curran before Kate and Curran, and with all of the like big long backstory. Like, this is Kate and Curran fast tracked, but I feel like it is different enough that they are not combined to each other. But I can see the threads of seeing Rose and Declan working out their relationship, and I can kind of see the threads and I guess similar, I don't know, archetypes, constructs, I guess, slightly similar dynamics in their relationship that would come to form in Kate and Curran. Although Kate and Curran, I feel like we've got 10 books plus a bunch of novellas plus now the spin-off series. So there's a lot more to Kate and Curran's dynamic that we see, and this is like compiled all into one book. But yeah, I loved it. 4.5 stars, super fun. I am timer-wise just under 8 hours. So we are at 7 hours and 49 minutes and 38 seconds. And Cheese has opinions. So yeah, it's about 10:30. I'm going to take a shower and then I'll probably get ready for bed. I might pick up another ebook tonight. My TBR is just completely out the window. I definitely have some reading I'd like to do. As for what I'd like to pick up, I would like to do... I'll just grab it because I moved my sci-fi in here, so I can just grab the book. I'd like to do Resisting Maxu. So this is the 6th book. Yeah, 6th book in the Cleclenius series by Victoria Aveline. I have the ARC for the 7th book, which comes out at the end of this month on my Kindle. So I definitely want to read book 6 and then jump into book 7. And those will probably be the next 2 physical books that I read. I don't know if I'm going to check this out on KU or read it physically. I might just read it on KU just because it'll be a little bit easier because this is one of the bigger like indie sized books. But isn't it pretty? I love her covers, especially the backs of the covers. I think the backs are absolutely gorgeous. So this will be what I'm picking up next physically. I still haven't decided on an audiobook. I definitely have some projects I'd like to get done this week, so I definitely will want to find an audiobook. I've only used one of my 10 checkouts for Hoopla this month, and my goal is to use at least 5. But for my magical readathon, I do have some short book, short read prompts. So I might look at picking up some of the comics or graphic novels that I have saved in Hoopla, because those will be quick reads. Those can get me a bunch of points for the romance readathon, just because I can fly through them so quickly. So we'll see what I decide to end up doing. I think next week I'm going to focus on the short, easier reads to try to like stack my points as much as possible. But or should I wait and do them now so I can include them in this vlog? No, this vlog is already getting long enough. Okay, no. If I read an audiobook before my almost 8 hours is up, I will come back and tell you. But the next physical book I'm going to pick up is Resisting Maxu. So this will be where we're going next, sci-fi. Not only do I have the ARC for 6th End, but I tried to read one of each subgenre, romance subgenres that I follow a month, and sci-fi is the only one I haven't read a book for this month yet. So I'm definitely, so I was also like, I need to do sci-fi. So yeah, we're gonna go with Resisting Maxu. Yeah, so I'm excited to finally read this. I've been wanting to read it forever, and I just kept running out of time, and then there were other sci-fi books. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. The pressure cooker is fun, but it's a little bit boring. Although I do have to say, the feeds went out for a little bit, and then they came back on, and Suri and Jared have dropped, and they dropped super early, and I was like, oh, that was weird. And then there's a giant freaking thing of snakes in the center. Not okay. And then they keep like zooming in on the snakes. I'm like 90% sure snakes are like one thing I cannot handle. I will not do. I can't handle people talking about them. I just got the chills up and down my spine. I just can't. Snakes are a no for me. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have snake nightmares, because even if I just see a little clip while scrolling through social media or something of somebody is talking about a snake or has a video of a snake, I have nightmares. So I mean, I can. I kind of was forced to learn how to manipulate my dreams. So a lot of the times I can kick myself out of a nightmare and start changing things around me to kind of make it work. And keep it from becoming a nightmare, or like making sure like it doesn't end scarily, like I can get out of whatever situation I'm in. But I'm just nervous that I'm gonna have nightmares, so because that always helps, you know, when you want a good night's of sleep, is nightmares about snakes. So I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna head to bed and maybe pick up something else to read tonight. But I will be back tomorrow, maybe some point, if I've made some good progress or decided to pick up an audiobook or something. My boss is out of town tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, so I will be manning all the desk, all the phones, all customer things, plus my normal job of like doing inventory and ordering parts and putting away parts, and so things will be crazy. So I probably won't be able to listen to an audiobook, so I'm going to focus heavily on podcast, I think, if not just music, but we'll see what comes this weekend. So, and now we're at 12 minutes. I keep saying I'm going to leave you, and then I keep having more things to say, so I will go take a shower now. I need to get to bed early because I have to go into work early tomorrow. So I will see you when I see you very shortly. Hello. Happy Sunday. It is just about 6 p.m. on Sunday. And I have some updates for you. Yes, it seems like we're back in the same spot. We're back in the bedroom. Partly because I have the best light. That's my like huge window. So I have the best light in here. We had a thunderstorm come through earlier, and it was really crazy because you couldn't see the lightning, but it was just like constant rolling thunder for like half an hour. It was crazy how much thunder it was, and there wasn't like a break ever. But yeah, I've been working on chores all day, and then I have reading sprints. I put on some reading sprints, and so I have been reading for most of the afternoon. I just finished Resisting Maxu. When I picked it up, I was at 30%, and I just powered through. I love this. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. It was super fun. Oh my gosh, the cliffhanger. I'm really happy that I don't have to wait long to pick up book 7 because the arc is currently sitting on my Kindle. I have other things I have to take care of first for it. But let me move some things here. The kitty is wanting to cuddle me right now. But yeah, so this is Meg and Maxu's book. We have seen Meg. She's one of the human women in like the compound area. And she has been one of the ones that is like super interested. Like she's learning Clucanian, the language, and she's always reading about the different cities and the different cultures. This one we had a lot of traveling. A lot of the humans got together and they're doing like a tour of Clucania. And so they're like spending a couple days in a lot of the cities. So we had some like very brief run-ins with a lot of different like cities and cultures, and I just love that with every book we're expanding more and more this universe, but not even just the universe, but the planet of Clucania. And I am super intrigued. We've been places in this book that we haven't seen before. There is a brief mention of going to the city where Tempting Ozed was, because that was like the treetops crazy one that was Alex and Ozed's book, which is funny because those are AA names, and this is MM. This is Meg and Maxu. But I know the next one is, the next one is Sophia and Sixhand. So SS, wait a second. Who's with Maladek? Who's with, okay, so we've got Theo, Luca, Veraco, Ozed, Feho, Maladek, Maxu, and now 6N. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at the other blurbs and see if all the other names are like same letter to start. I might be putting things together. But anyway, this was just super fun. A lot of traveling. Unexpectedly, we really learned a lot more about Meg and her situation. And she was raised in a small town where, you know, evangelical Christianity was what you were. And she was kind of forced to get married at a very young age because everyone in the community found out that she, as a high schooler, was experimenting with a fellow classmate, a boy named Jeremy, and in the religion they were like, you're not tainted and you two are going to do the right thing and get married. It was not a good marriage. There was no love between them. He is definitely a man-child. And so when she was abducted, she really kind of took that as her chance to start a new life and to really kind of find who she was and empower herself. And I love the way that she really kind of struggled with, this is who I think I am versus this is who I think I should be, and really just coming to realize that certain aspects that while she thought, you know, were what was forced on her aren't just products of the religion and the lifestyle, but that she actually does have some of those personality traits, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I really enjoyed this. Poor Maxu is like kept away from her right after he recognizes her, and he is a hot mess when he finally makes his way to her, and he's very possessive. He is one of the brothers, so we've got Theo, Luca, Ozed, and now Maxu. So there's two other, well, no, it's 6 kids and his sister, and one of them is the sister. So I think we have one more brother, but we don't really see much of the brothers in this one. But I gave, like I said, 4.5 stars. I did want Meg to open up to Maxu a little bit more. He was crazy a little bit and completely like strung out when they first met. But he was like locked up for 2 weeks and then was like trying to find her and couldn't find her, and nobody would tell him where the like big touring caravan was. So I wish that she would have had a little bit more empathy towards him in that situation. She also, you know, very much was pushing him away, and she felt like she was being trapped in the relationship, which totally valid, especially given her history. But nobody knew. Like, she talked to nobody about her history. And then her like close guard, who was also a friend, she finally opened up to about some of it like halfway through this book. And I'm like, girl, you've been here for how long? And you're just now opening up to someone about it. And she's also very nervous because a lot of Klakanians are trying to push to raising the status of Earth because, you know, with not only are earthling women, human women, and just humans in general, able to reproductively compatible with Klakanians, they're really kind of pushing to help raise Earth status so that, you know, the species of Klakanians can be saved. And then there's lots of races in there, but I'm super intrigued. I loved, my favorite place was, I can't remember the name of it, but like everybody had wings and they were kind of like human-sized fairies. And when the human convoy was there, they were doing this really cool festival where there's like waterfalls everywhere. It's always super misty and foggy, and there's just like, you know, because they're just surrounded by waterfalls, so the everything just kind of is very humid, which I wouldn't like necessarily, but they're surrounded by waterfalls, and there's like water trickling everywhere. It definitely gave me almost like a more natural element of some of the Japanese temples I went to, where they had a lot of the bamboo water fountains, and it just was very peaceful with the running water and the sounds of nature. But this big event that they have, this celebration, I guess a lot of the water is dammed up, and they release the dams, and all of the water comes rushing out and like fills the city and splashes all over. And while this huge cascade of water is coming down, everyone screams out all of their emotions, good and bad, and just purges everything. And then they have several days of just like no talking and silence and just like resetting yourself almost emotionally. And, you know, at that point, the water has already kind of dried up because it just flooded. And so eventually the water kind of starts to trickle back, but like everything just is silent because the water isn't there anymore. I mean, there's still like nature sounds, but it's just like everything is just quiet, and everyone tries, like nobody talks. And it was just, I found myself really sucked in, and I really hope we get to visit that place in the future. As for the ending, so spoilers, if you don't want the ending, fast forward till I take this book down. Holy crap, the queen is dead. Sick then tries to capture the human envoys. Sophia gets left behind. However, I already know that Sophia ends up being his mate, so that's fine. But I am slightly worried about the guard that is with her, and I hope he is still alive. And the queen's daughter is stepping up, and she's not treating the humans like they are like sentient beings. And I do understand part of it where she's just like, you know, if we want to integrate them into our culture, they need to abide by the same laws, which fair. If they want to be, if they're kind of being forced to become Clacanian cities. I always add a second L. Clacanian citizens, yes, they should abide by the laws. I do think that there needs to be a little bit of leeway because, you know, because of the situation where Clacanian, you know, is projected to become extinct within 3 decades of people that the strict things that they've enforced on their people to try to keep themselves alive also needs to be relaxed. That wasn't discussed, but now they're kind of treated like chattel, that, you know, humans are just going to be sent to live in these other cities and they're just going to be forced there. And I think there's a better way to do that, but I do think that the humans also need to be allowed to explore, because how are you going to meet your mate if you're not exploring the world, kind of a thing. So it's a gray area. I'm super intrigued on where we're going to go in the next book, but I can't wait to read it. But this book, 4.5 stars. I super loved it. I am currently at 3 hours and 18 minutes. So I should be able to finish it today. I don't have too much to do. I have my last load of laundry in the dryer. But I'm not going to worry. If I pick up an audiobook, I'm not going to put it to this thing. So what my plan is tonight is I need to pick up one more book to finish it out. And I was kind of looking at what I have for readathons and challenges that end at the end of this month. I need to read a manga, graphic novel, or comic to finish my magical readathon classes, which has to be done. Well, it doesn't, like, G is very relaxed, but I want it to be done. And then the extras I can worry about later the year. So I need to read that. I might try to see if there's something I haven't picked up yet on Hoopla, and then I can use some of my Hoopla checkouts, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that right now. We'll see where I'm at time frame wise. Then for Ripped Bodice Summer Bingo, that also ends at the end of the month. I have 2 prompts left, Prohibition and Fae Fairies. For Prohibition, I have a plan to pick up Grave Phantoms by Jen Bennett. It is a historical paranormal series. That's the 3rd book in the trilogy, so I would like to read that one. But that is a more full length and will take probably longer than the 3 hours. So I was like, ugh. So my other one is Fae Fairies. So I decided I'm going to pick up Luna Cursed by Alessa Thorne. This is the 4th and final book in the Ironwood series, but this is a part of her overarching Fae universe series, of which the next spin-off trilogy just wrapped up a couple months ago. So I want to read this one. This one definitely is focused more on the shifters, but I know that like Killian and all the Fae boys from the first trilogy, and then we've had a lot of Fae just people throughout this series as well. So I know it's set in a very Fae heavy world. So even though we're dealing with the cousin to the Ironwoods and technically a wolf shifter, I think he still is considered Fae. Or maybe he's considered elven. He works with the elves. But I don't know. He's still considered something outside of just being a shifter. So I'm excited to read it. Her books are usually in the 200-ish page range, so I should be able to get that done in the 3 hours, and then we'll see where I'm sitting on time for that. So I'm going to continue on with my reading sprints, and I'm going to pick up Luna Curse for the next round and see how far I get through. These are very bingeable for me, so I don't know if I'll update you halfway through, but I definitely will come back once I have finished it, or once our timer has run out, whatever happens first. But I had to update you because we have finally finished another book. We will see if I will hit 10 books by the end of August. And it'll be weird that most of them will be in this vlog, but you know what? Sometimes that's how it goes. So I will stop rambling at you. I will get to reading, and I will see you all very shortly. Hello, happy Monday. It is just before 7:30 Monday evening. I've been editing last week's vlog, just got that done, which is great. So I have an update for you. I have officially finished my 24-hour timer. I finished it last night. Very late. I was up way later than I should have been last night, considering I had to go into work early again this morning, but it's fine. 24 hours is officially done. Let me just look at my planner and see. So today is the 28th of August, and I'm not going to get it edited and done in time to go up tomorrow, Tuesday. So I think I'm planning on having this go up maybe the 5th or the 12th of September, which when you're seeing this doesn't really matter, but so it'll be a little bit afterwards compared to when I'm filming this. It'll be almost a month later since when I started filming this, but it's done and I'm excited to have it done. So last night I did start and finished it, Luna Cursed, 5 stars, another 5 stars. I am a big Alessa Thorne fan. She is one of my favorite indie authors. Her books are so bingeable. They're super quick. They're all in the shorter, like 200 to 300 page range usually, and they are just so much fun. This is a part of her big Fae universe. Like I said, this is book 4. We're definitely dealing with like the wolf shifters, and this series and this Wrath of the Fae and the Lost Fae Kings in this Fae universe has a lot of Celtic, Nordic inspiration with the Fae, and we've got the elves are Viking elves, and the wolves are Viking wolves. So the big bad in this one, who is one of Morrigan's generals, who we defeated Morrigan at the end of the Wrath of the Fae trilogy. And then this series is dealing with each of her generals in each book. And this one is obviously the Wolf General. And his big goal is to try to bring forth Ragnarok early again, which was Morrigan's plan. Or not Morrigan's. It was the plan of the guy in the second book. And the third book. All of these people are trying to bring forth Ragnarok, but I can't remember his name, but his plan is to awaken Fenris, Loki's son, which I love. And I mean, we get to where Odin has hidden Fenris's body, and you know, our hero and our heroine and our band of family members and extended family members and close friends are here. We've got Great Drakes, we've got the Fae brothers and their family, we've got the Ironwoods. I mean, everybody's coming together, and I love it because everybody is just relies on each other, and that's the status quo. And it just makes me so happy to see everybody together as a family fighting on the big bad, and nobody's trying to do it alone, although that is something that Sierra likes to do. But Sierra Wolfslayer, she's a tough cookie. She's definitely a tough cookie. We see her at the end of the previous book show up to Thor's apartment, and she's like fighting for her life. So he gives her a bond, so he's able to push some of his alpha magic into her to help kind of keep her alive. And so she's given this bond. It's not a mating bond, but it is a bond. And there may or may not be a chance that she turns into a wolf because of this bond, plus the bite from the bad wolf that they're fighting. And it's just, Alessa Thorne does this so well. We wrap up the main storyline of what's happening in this series, but we get teasers and tidbits for what's to come. And let me tell you, what's to come, what's teased at the end of this book, Alexa dismiss, is Fenris. Seems like he might be a hero in an upcoming book in a spin-off series of this, because if you don't know, Alessa Thorne likes to do spin-offs of spin-offs of spin-offs and expand her worlds, and I am a huge fan of that. And I just love that we can like see different pieces in these worlds that she's created. And not that she won't start a new series in a new universe. The next book she has coming out is the start of a new series, which isn't connected, as far as I know, to anything else that she's written. But Fenris might be the hero in a future series, but I know it's not the next series, because the series that follows up this one in the Fae universe is The Lost Fae Kings, and that is the three uncles who are basically the gods of Tir-na-nog, and they're the uncles of the three Fae heroes from the original trilogy, and they have their own trilogy, and that's what's next. And so who knows when we're getting whatever series this Fenric book is going to be in, or Fenris book. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. And it seems like he's going to be paired with Thor's younger sister, who has never been able to shift into her wolf. I mean, we're talking about the ultimate wolf god being paired with a werewolf who can't shift into their wolf. Mind blown. As you can tell, I love Alessa Thorne. These books make me so happy. They're so bingeable. This one was just really fun. We had Sierra and Thor working together. And they're trying to figure out where this guy is doing. He's dealing with black magic. He's recruiting wolves who are kind of perturbed with their pack. And, what are they called? The Ulfengard, I think. which is like Tor's pack kind of a thing, which he could be alpha of. But they have a council thing, and then we have the bond kind of forcing them because now they can't hide their feelings from each other, and they're always like bickering and like fighting a little bit, and sometimes they do like physical fighting with each other, and it's all 100% foreplay, and it's just so much fun. This one definitely felt a little heavier on the steam. I feel like we had more steamy scenes, but it fit Tor and Sierra's dynamic. So I would prefer maybe one less, but it fit their dynamic, so I wasn't like, and I know that's weird. People are like, don't you like romance for the spice? And I like spice. But I was having so much fun with everything else. I was like, we don't need another spicy scene. I am fully okay to just delve more into this world. But every time I read one of her books, I feel like I just go on an Alessa Thorne binge, and I just beg people to read her because I love her books so much. They're so quick, and yeah, 5 stars. I have finished the Ironwood series. It was so good. It was so freaking good, and I can't wait for the spin-off series that comes directly from this book. We still have the Great Drakes, which spins off of the first book in the Ironwood series. But when I finished Luna Curse last night, I had about an hour and 13 minutes left in my timer. So what did I do? Did I pick up one of the novellas I said I was going to do? Did I pick up something else that I thought I was going to try to read before the end of the month? No, I did not. I picked up this. I checked this out on KU. And as I said, the following spinoff is the Lost Fae Kings. These are the 3 uncles of Bane, Killian, and Kian. This is Oberon's book. He is the like Fae god. They say they're not gods, but he's like the one that's in charge of keeping the magic of the forests and animals. That's kind of his realm. Then we have Manannan, which is I think Manannan is the sea and like sea creatures and water based. And then we have Tyrannus, who is like the god, so to speak, of the sky and lightning and weather and fire and magic. And he can turn into a dragon. Just saying. When Alessa Thorne was writing this, she had posted, I think maybe in her Instagram stories, or maybe she wrote it in a blog post, but she was like, I did so much research into dragons, and I kind of want to write a dragon series now that's not related to anything else. And I was one of those people who jumped on it and was like, yes, please. Yes, please. I'm a dragon girly. So I can't wait to get to that one. But that one's book 3. She's making us wait. All 3 are out currently. But yeah, so I jumped into this. By the time my timer went off, I was 40% of the way through. I managed to get to 58% before I went to bed last night. So this is going to be a 25, 26-ish hour vlog, but that's fine because I figured I might as well talk about it here, and then I'll just finish it up and continue to talk about it instead of having to then switch over halfway through and give all my thoughts in one of my other videos I have going on. So you will get another update from me, just my thoughts on finishing this book. Right now it'll probably be a 5-star, and let me tell you, I have stayed away from blurbs. I knew the premise when she announced the series, that it was the uncles, but I didn't look at heroines, I didn't look at blogs. I just knew that they were the 3 uncles, and I knew the basics of like what they kind of covered, and I knew the 3rd one was a dragon, had something to do with dragons, but we definitely meet all 3 of them here, and they show up around Christmas time. And let me tell you, in the first book of this universe, Heart of the Blood Prince. I think it's Heart of the Blood Prince. It's the first book in the Wrath of the Fae trilogy, the first book in this universe. That is Elise and Kian's book, I think. Or is it Elise and Killian? I think it's Elise and Kian. But Elise in the beginning has her best friend, Chrissy. And Chrissy does a tarot card pull for her. Chrissy's very into magic. She's very almost pagan-esque. She does witch rituals. She's very into gardening. She definitely feels like a altar green kitchen kind of witch vibe. And I was just like, I love Chrissy. I'm here for Chrissy. She is West Indies African, I believe. And I was hoping that she would be like the heroine because, you know, it's our first heroine and it's her best friend. So I was thinking she would be like the heroine in book 2 or 3. And then we just moved on and went somewhere else. But Chrissy is back. Chrissy is our heroine Chrissy is back. And like, if you could not tell, I'm super excited about it. And when magic and the Fae returned to Earth, she was really sad because she was someone who always really loved magic, and always just lived her life like she had magic and positive intentions, and she definitely is a good witch. But when magic came back into the world, she found that she didn't have any, and when she would do like meetings with what eventually morphed into her coven, she was just the one that was practicing like before magic came back to Earth, and she never had any power. And Oberon, when him and his brother show up, and they're just like, the connection and the magic between Tir na Nog and Earth is getting really thin, and we're gonna lose like magic forever, and it could like cause like huge ramifications in the world. So that's like our big plot for this series, is reestablishing the magic links, getting rid of any blights that might be causing issues, and kind of reestablishing both worlds, and healing them from Morgan and her generals. But it's always a sore spot for Chrissy that she doesn't have magic. And Oberon's like, no, you have a lot of magic. She's also like very kind to animals. Like she's my kind of person, you know? I just really want to hang out with Chrissy. And she ends up kind of bumping into Oberon, and he is just drawn to her. And I mean, this definitely is giving daddy vibes. It's definitely fitting the trend when these came out early 2023 and the end of 2022. I'm not super into the daddy vibes. That's not my thing. But here, I don't mind it as much because, I mean, they're supernatural and they're like thousands of years anyway, so it's like the stretch that they would be more, plus they're uncles. It doesn't feel as cringy to me as it does for other books that I've read that had the daddy type element. There's even a joke that they make about one of the other brothers, how he's gonna be the daddy fae or something like that, and I was just like, oh my god. So I mean, if you're into the daddy trend, definitely look at these books. I feel like you could read them as standalone. There's a lot of side characters, so it might be a little bit information overload because you haven't been through the 7 books to meet them all. But she has a character guide in the back of the book, and they're quick reads. So honestly, just read them all. Read them in order and join me in binging her. And I'm going to have to really stop myself after I read this one to read a Prohibition book before the end of the month, because otherwise I can see myself just binging this series and getting this trilogy done as well. I just love Alessa Thorne's book. So I'm over halfway through it. I plan on finishing it tonight. It is just so fun. So, Oberon finds that there was way back, and there's a lot of callbacks, so I don't know how much of this she had planned or she just had in her subconscious in the back of her mind, but there's a lot of callbacks to situations that Chrissy talks about in the very beginning of the first book. And I'm just like, what? We're calling back all the way to then? Like, I think it's been 3 years or something crazy. Like when the Fae first came back to Earth. I'm like, what? So the night before it happened, Chrissy had, I can't remember what her group called themselves beforehand, but when magic came back, they then considered themselves a coven. But they went and did some ritual and in the forest, kind of a solstice celebration. What's really funny is there were 2 gods that Chrissy was like honoring, and one of them is, I can't remember, I think it was Gaia, and then the other one started with a C, and it's basically the like another culture's version of Oberon. So she practically was worshiping Oberon, and he's just like, oh really? And but she got really sick and she felt really funky, and she ended up going home from work early, and that's why she wasn't killed when the Fae first came in, because there's some violence when the Fae first arrived back on Earth. And I just, all the callbacks to that, and then they're able to kind of track down where she was, and they figure out that it's Fomorians, I think. And they were like enemies of the Turnanog, and they're like, magic is coming back, so we're not sure if Chrissy's ex and the people that she used to do magic rituals with know that they're with the bad magic users, or if they're intentionally like gaining more power from them, or if they're just like their rituals that they're doing are just kind of being latched on to the wrong entity when they're doing it and they don't know better. But yeah, I'm intrigued. Her magic is finally like there, and she's able to use it. It's very nature-based magic, and I'm having so much fun. It's set kind of around Christmas time. There's some chuckling about mistletoe, and somebody's like, well, if you want her to kiss you, you know, just, it's a thing to kiss under mistletoe. So he like makes mistletoe grow like crazy in like an arch all the way around her door. Not just one little sprig, but like an entire like freaking ivy plant of mistletoe. And I'm like, technically that's poisonous, but okay. But yeah, as you can tell, I love Alessa Thorne. I love her books. Even if it's like a trope or a situation that I'm not typically a fan of, I love the way that her world building is. I love all the side characters, and I love reading her books. They just tickle all of the right spots in my brain. I know she's a big geek. She loves Assassin's Creed. And when you hear authors say they write the books that they always wanted to read, not that I don't believe authors when they say this, but when I read Alessa Thorne's books, that is the feeling that I get, that she is writing the books that she wanted to read for people like us who are nerdy, who like the steam, who like the fun. We don't need a lot of angst. It's just straight, simple, fated mates, but great world building, great banter, great family, great found family dynamics. It's got everything I could want. I just need a wrong sibling trope, and then I am great. It seems like we might have a pairing potentially. Like, you can see her teasing pairings all the time with side characters, and I feel like one of the Great Jake's brothers, Apollo, may or may not be paired with Sierra's younger brother, Lachlan. So we've got an MM potentially in the Great Jake's spinoff. but that hasn't happened yet. I don't know which one is coming first, the Fenris one or the Great Drakes one. There's mention about Tyrannus wanting to talk with the Great Drakes because he can sense that they have magic from a dragon. There's so much I love about this series and about Alessa Thorne's writing, and this is just kind of turning into an Alessa Thorne gush fest, but I can't help it. It is just so good. Right now it's sitting at a 5-star because I rate off of enjoyment most of all, and it's just sweeping me away, which is what I want. So yeah, officially we have hit the 24 hours, like I said. So that means that in 24 hours of straight reading, I was able to finish 5.5 books, which is pretty dang good this is pretty dang good. It sucks it took me so long to get through them, but you know, life happens. And I'm just excited to continuing forward. I read quite a few good books. I think, let's see, we had a 4-star, a 3.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, a 5-star, and most likely another 5-star. So I'm pretty happy with the way that the spread turned out, and it's definitely helping me get some reading done. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I will come back and I will do one minor little update, just kind of to let you know my final thoughts on Dance of the Forest King, even though technically we're past the 24-hour mark, but it's fine, you know, it's fine. It took me this long, so might as well throw an extra hour and a half-ish on it, right? But we'll see. I didn't continue reading. Well, I was reading during sprints last night, so I'll see if I can figure out my timing. And I wasn't continuing to time how long it was taking, but I'll try to see how long it takes me the rest of the book, and then I can figure out what the 18 extra % should do. I'll do some math and we can try to figure out how long it took me to get through 6 books. But anyway, I'll stop blabbering at you. Another long update, but I had things to talk about and Alessa Thorne books to gush about once again. So I will update you either later tonight or tomorrow. We'll see if I'm up to filming a clip later tonight, but I will be back once I have finished Dance of the Forest King. Hello. I said I was going to update you when I finished Dance of the Forest King. Well, I have finished it, but I finished it that night and it's now Friday. So it's been a little bit. I finished it on Monday. Happy September. Did not expect this 24-hour vlog to be filming the final clip in September, but there we are. I haven't filmed anything this week really since I did my 24-hour last clip. On Monday, I didn't even film my weekly vlogs. I just got done filming all of the week in one clip. But I figured, let's just get things caught back up so I can start editing and get things taken care of. Happy Friday. Happy September. Yeah, so I am going to give this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. It definitely, you could tell, it is like 20-ish pages shorter than the Luna Curse specifically, but the other Fae books, I feel like. And you could tell it didn't feel quite as developed as some of the other ones were. It was a little more quicker. I also thought that the Oberon pushed back a little too hard for me against mating or wanting to be with Chrissy. I was like, I get that you're older than her, but let's be honest, you're going to be older than her just as a young hot Fae and not an older Fae. There's still a significant age gap there because she's human. But I was like, she's your fated. Like, why are we pushing away your fated? Why are you thinking you're not good enough for your fated mate? And it takes, you know, his nephews, the young boys, to be like, it's your fated mate. Like, you only get one, kind of a thing. So he very quickly turns around, but I didn't want that. I felt like it was more angst than we needed, and more angst than you typically see in a Lessa Thorne book, so it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But I still really liked it. Maybe I gave it 4 stars. It was either 4 or 4.5. Which is weird because I feel like almost every other Alessa Thorne book I've read, except maybe the first 2 that she published, have been like 5 stars for me. So we have it. I don't just auto give 5 stars to Alessa Thorne. We have found one that isn't 5 stars. But I still really, really enjoyed it. I just like her writing, and I enjoy the storytelling and the world building, like I said. So I did really enjoy this. I'm super intrigued to see. We didn't really meet anybody new. And I glanced at the name in the blurb for the next book, who's going to be Moranin. I can't remember his name. However, how quickly I forget. It's been like 4 days. But the sea god, or the sea-based fae. And I didn't recognize his heroine's name. So it's somebody new. I didn't look at the third one for Tyrannus's book, but he's dragon. He's the dragon. So I'm super excited for that one as well. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I did keep a timer. It took me, let me check. I think it's on my stopwatch. It reset, because I charged my thing. So all of that resets. I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes or something. So technically this is like a 25-hour and 10-minute reading vlog, but I'm okay with that. That is super good. We're still counting it as the 24 hours. I just wanted to continue just wrapping up with Dance of the Forest King, because I didn't want to, I just wanted to really talk about it here. And then I can kind of mention in my other clips or other videos where I talk about it, where I can just be like, watch this to do Dance of the Fae King. No, Dance of the Forest King. I'm combining the series name and the title name. But yeah, like I said, 4 or 4.5 stars. I can't even remember at this point, but wasn't 5 stars, but I still really enjoyed it. And I already have the next book checked out. I might hold off a little bit so I can keep kind of spacing them out, because I am running out of Alessa Thorne books. So we'll see what happens, but I think I'm going to wrap it up here. This vlog is already probably a lot longer than I was expecting it to be. So thank you so much for watching. If you've done a 24-hour reading vlog before, whether it's either just see how much you can read in 24 hours, or like I did, where you track and talk about what you read during the 24 hours, definitely let me know. I'd like to check it out, see how other people kind of planned it, and how my reading kind of compares to what other people are reading in 24 hours, because that just would be fun to know. Not that I would compare myself, but just compare stats, I think is interesting. But yeah, if you'd like to just leave me an emoji instead, leave me clock, time related, hourglass, whatever you'd like in that kind of vein emoji. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon with another video.